They cut me off at family dinner, so I showed them my empire. They laughed as the waiter poured the wine. The sound of glass clinking, of forced joy, like a symphony of knives. I sat there, quiet, invisible, a stranger at my own family's table. My father leaned back in his chair, gold watch glinting under the soft light. "Let's focus on people who actually made something of themselves this year," he said, without looking at me. The laughter that followed felt heavier than words. My brother, the golden son, grinned and nodded, basking in the attention like a well-fed actor under the spotlight. Mother sipped her wine, eyes never meeting mine. And me? I simply watched how comfortable they all were erasing me. They thought they'd already written me out of their story. But what they didn't know, what no one at that table knew, was that I had written my own. And tonight, they were about to read the final chapter. It wasn't always like this. There was a time I was the favorite, the quiet, obedient son who followed every rule. Until I didn't. Until I started thinking differently. I left the family business, the one my father had built from his father's name. He called me ungrateful, said I was too emotional to lead, too idealistic to succeed. He cut me off financially, and worse, emotionally, told everyone I'd failed before I'd even begun. My brother took his place at father's side, inherited the attention, the affection, the empire, and I left, disowned in everything but blood. For years I worked in silence, no support, no recognition, just long nights and rejection letters. Every loss carved me into something sharper, colder. I built something, alone, brick by brick, hour by hour. No one knew, not my family, not my so-called friends. They thought I'd disappeared. But in truth, I was rebuilding. Not myself, my empire. Tonight's dinner wasn't coincidence. It was tradition, a yearly performance my family put on to celebrate success. They called me, of course, out of pity. "Join us," my mother had said softly over the phone. "You're still family." Still family. The same words you use to keep a ghost comfortable. I arrived on time, wore the same cheap jacket they remembered me in. Let them believe the story they'd written, that I was still the struggling one. They talked about business deals, real estate, investments, all built on inheritance and borrowed names. They smiled as if they were kings. Meanwhile, I kept my silence. Because I wasn't here for revenge. I was here for closure. And closure, like revenge, works best when it's patient. Between bites, I caught my father's voice again. Some people just aren't made for success. He didn't say my name. He didn't have to. My brother's laugh filled the air. My mother's eyes fell on her plate. And I felt nothing. Not pain, not anger, just the quiet hum of inevitability. They thought they'd won. I waited until dessert was served. Then I took out my phone and placed it gently on the table. A small vibration, then another. Notifications lighting up the screen, one after another, rapid and bright. I turned it toward them. "Just something you might want to see," I said. My father frowned. My brother leaned in. And there it was, the news alert. Tech startup valued at $1.2 billion following acquisition by global investor group. My company's name glowing on the screen. My father blinked. "Wait." "It's mine," I said quietly. "The company. The one I started after you called me a failure." Silence fell. No music. No laughter, just shock. My brother's fork froze midway to his mouth. My mother finally looked up, eyes wide with something between pride and regret. Father's jaw tightened, the kind of tightness that comes when ego cracks. "You're joking," he muttered. I met his eyes. I don't joke about ownership. The waiter stepped closer, offering coffee. I waved him away. This moment needed no interruptions. For years, they'd spoken over me, around me, through me. Now, every breath in that room belonged to my silence. My father tried to regain control. "You could have told us," he said. "We could have helped you grow." I smiled, just slightly. "You already did," I said. "You helped me grow every time you cut me down." His eyes narrowed. My brother's face turned pale. I stood, slowly, took the napkin from my lap and placed it neatly beside the untouched dessert. "I'm not here to gloat," I said. "I just wanted you to know, the next time you discuss success, you'll need to redefine it." I pulled an envelope from my jacket pocket, placed it in front of my father. He hesitated, then opened it. Inside, shares. His company's shares. "I bought you out," I said quietly. "The board agreed this morning." He froze. My brother stammered. "That's impossible." "It's business," I interrupted, calm as winter. "You taught me that." My mother's hand trembled as she set her glass down. No one spoke. For once, they couldn't. I turned to leave. "Where are you going?" my father demanded, voice cracking. "Home," I said. And then, after a pause, "But not yours." Outside, the night was quiet. The cold air bit against my skin like clarity. For years, I'd imagined this moment filled with triumph, music, victory, redemption. But it wasn't that. It was peace, an ending. When I looked back through the restaurant window, I saw them still frozen, my family, staring at the space I'd left behind, a ghost that had come to reclaim his silence. They thought success would make me come crawling back, but success didn't bring me here. Closure did. I walked to my car, opened the door, paused. My phone buzzed again, messages from investors, congratulations from strangers. I ignored them, because what mattered wasn't what I'd gained, it was what I'd outgrown. As I drove away, I didn't look back again. Some families teach love. Mine taught me strategy. And tonight, for the first time, I played their game and won.
How could you do this?